Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ashok Kumar from Government Women Engineering College Ajmer. This is lecture 2 of antenna parameter series, and in this lecture 2 we are going to discuss about radiation power density and radiation intensity. The following contents will be addressed during this lecture 2 of antenna parameter series. First, the radiation power density, then radiation intensity, and further the problem based on radiated power, half power beamwidth, and first null beamwidth. As we have discussed in lecture 1 of antenna parameter series about the radiation pattern and their associated parameters, in which we have discussed about the half power beamwidth and first null beamwidth. And further in this lecture 2 we are going to discuss about radiation power density and radiation power intensity, through which we can calculate the radiated power. The content of this lecture 2 of antenna parameter series is prepared mainly with the help of following books. First we are going to discuss about radiation power density. Electromagnetic waves, I mean EM waves, are used to transport information through a wireless medium or a guiding structure from one point to the other point. It is then natural to assume that the power and energy are associated with electromagnetic fields. So, the quantities as discussed in lecture 1, when we are discussed about the radiation pattern, in that case the power associated with an EM wave is the instantaneous Poynting vector, and which can be defined by expression 3, W is equal to E cross H, where W is the instantaneous Poynting vector, and we have calculated in terms of watt per meter square. E equal to instantaneous electric field intensity volt per meter, and H is the instantaneous magnetic field intensity ampere per meter. Since the Poynting vector is a power density function, the total power crossing a closed surface can be obtained by integrating the normal component of Poynting vector over the entire space. So this is the way through which we can calculate the total power crossing a closed surface, and in equation form we can calculate that P equal to double integration, I mean closed loop integration, and S represent the surface, W dot ds, which is equal to double integration of closed integration S W dot n cap. N cap is the unit vector normal to the surface, and D of A is the infinitesimal area of a closed surface, as we have discussed in lecture 1 of this series. And we can also calculate for the time varying field, the average power density is obtained by integrating the instantaneous Poynting vector over one period and dividing by the one period. For time harmonic variation of the form e to the power j omega t, we define the complex E and H, which are related to their instantaneous counterparts E and H by E x y z at time varying. T stand for time varying, and similarly for magnetic field H, x y z colon semicolon t, which is equal to real part of e to the power j omega t. So this is the time harmonic variation function, as you can see in equation 5th and 6th. And using equation 5th and 6th and identity, real part of e to the power j omega t equal to 1 by 2 e to the power j omega t plus e to the power minus j omega t. So equation 3, this equation can be written by considering these equation 5 and 6, and using this identity we can calculate W is equal to E cross H, which is equal to having two function, and first function is independent on the time and second is the time variation, and this is the or second and twice the radian frequency, as you can see. So when we are calculating the time average Poynting vector, or sometimes we are saying a average power density W average we can calculate by eliminating this function, second function, which we have ignored. So we can calculate W average equal to 1 by 2 real part of E cross H का complex conjugate watt per meter square. So the equation 8 is very important in the case of antenna analysis. Suppose we are considering the dipole antenna series, I mean wire antenna series. Suppose we are using the aperture antenna series and any category of antenna, whatever we want to discuss or whatever we want to analyze the categories of antenna. In that categories we need to calculate the average power density, because when we are calculating the directivity, in that case there are some certain parameters are required, in which one is the average power density, and through average power density we can calculate the further parameters that is discussed in this next slide also. So based upon the equation 8, the average power radiated by the antenna, radiated power can be written as P radiated is equal to P average W radiation dot ds. These are the vector quantities and integrated over the surface, closed surface, I mean sphere, you can say. So by using this expression we can calculate the radiated power. Up suppose we are taking the case of wire antenna. In that case we are using the P radiated equation, P average equal to W dot D, W radiated dot ds. But in the case of aperture antenna it is difficult to calculate the value of W radiated. In that case we are directly considering this expression 1 by 2 real integration of double integration of S real part of E cross H का complex conjugate into ds. So by using this expression we can calculate the radiated power in the case of aperture antenna. So for an isotropic radiated, the total power radiated is given, can be calculated. So we are putting W average equal to W naught into ds, which is equal to W naught R AR, because the isotropic radiated equally in all direction. In that case it's radiate along the R vector only, and theta and phi component is not occur in the case of isotropic radiator. So we can calculate the unit vector along the A of r cap are having the value W of naught R, and through which we can calculate the radiated power, which is equal to 4 pi r square W naught, and the power density we can calculate W is equal to AR cap W naught, which is equal to P radiated upon 4 pi r square. So this is another important expression that can be used in the case of isotropic antenna or radiator when we are calculating the power density. Then further we can calculate the radiation intensity, and radiation intensity is in a given direction is defined as the power radiated from an antenna per unit solid angle, or simply we can say that the radiation intensity U is the function of theta and phi, which is equal to the radius vector r square into W radiated. And this is very important for calculating the radiation intensity, where U is the radiation intensity watt per unit solid angle and W radiated is the radiation density. So as we have discussed in the previous slide, so radiation density can also be related to the far zone electric field of antenna U of theta comma phi r square upon 2 theta E r theta phi का magnitude square nearly equal to this. So this expression generally we are using when we are calculating the different categories of antenna radiation intensity, as well as the radiated power and the directivity of the antenna. In that case we can consider this expression, but the important expression for the radiation intensity U theta comma phi is equal to r square W radiated as given in equation 12. So the total power can be obtained by integrating the radiation intensity as given in equation 12 over the solid angle of 4 pi. As you can see, P radiated, this is the solid angle U d ohm equal to, this is solid angle across the theta and across the phi. So we can put the value of phi from 0 to 2 pi and theta from 0 to pi, and this is the u, and d of form is equal to sine theta, d theta and d phi, and this can be seen in equation 2 of lecture 1. In that case, we can calculate the value of radiated power for a isotropic source. P radiated equal to U naught, and which is equal to 4 pi U naught. So we can say the radiation intensity for a isotropic source is P radiated upon 4 pi. So we can say we can calculate the radiated power by using the radiation intensity also, and this is again is a very important. Earlier we have discussed about the radiated power by using the average power density function that you can see here. This is so we can say in a radiation pattern analysis, when we are calculating the radiated power, in that case we can calculate by using the radiation intensity as well as the radiation power density, through which we can calculate the total radiated power by the antenna. To understand the concept, as we have discussed in previous lecture, I mean lecture 1, and in this lecture, that we have taken some problem to understand the procedure and to understand the physical concept. In that case, the radiated power density W is given, and by using this function where E naught is the peak of the power density, theta is the usual spherical coordinate, AR is the unit vector, radial unit vector, calculate the total radiated power. So in this problem we can calculate the total radiated power by using directly this expression, or we can use by using radiation intensity. So here I am going to discuss about the radiation intensity procedure from which we can calculate the radiated power. So here you can see we can calculate by using equation 12. Here we have discussed equation 12, which is equal to R square into W radiated. So here W radiated is given, and U is equal to R square W radiated is equal to A naught sin theta, and by using equation 13, as you can see, this is equation 13 through which we can calculate the radiated power, which is equal to pi square A naught. So this is the simple procedure that we can use, or we can also calculate by using the radiation power density procedure also. This is the another problem, and this is very important problem for the analysis of the half power beamwidth and first null beamwidth, as we have discussed in lecture 1 of this series. And the radiation intensity function is given, which is equal to cos square theta, cos square thrice of theta, and the value of theta varies from 0 to 90 and phi varies from 0 to 360. In that case we need to calculate the half power beamwidth and first null beamwidth. First, we need to calculate the half power beamwidth, since the u of theta represent the power pattern, as we have discussed in the lecture 1 also. And if the it is amplitude is given, E of theta is given, in that case it is the amplitude pattern, and we can solve by using equating E of theta equal to 1 by root 2, but here it is given is the power pattern. So half power beamwidth, you set the function equal to the half of its maximum, I mean 1 by 2. So u of theta is equal to theta h is equal to, putting this value as which is equal to 1 by 2. So this is the half power beamwidth. In the case of amplitude pattern, we are taking 1 by root 2, I mean 0.707. So we can calculate the function of theta h, which is equal to cos inverse 0.707 upon cos thrice of theta h, and this is the function, or we can say this is the equation with transcendental function, and it can be solved iteratively procedure. After few iteration, it is found that theta of h is equal to 0.25 radian, which is equal to, so I mean when we are considering the different values of theta h, in that case we are calculating when the theta or h and this theta h is equal. In that case we can say that at this point or angle theta, the antennas given the maxima. So by using this procedure we can calculate, and since the function u of theta is symmetrical about the maximum at theta is equal to 0, then half power beamwidth is equal to twice of theta h, which is equal to 0.5 radian, equal to 28.65. Further, we can calculate the first null beamwidth. You can set u of theta equal to 0, and we can calculate u of theta equal to 0. So in the case of amplitude pattern also, e of theta equal to 0. So we are putting this equation equal to 0, and this leads to a two solutions, in which first solution is the theta cos theta n function, and other is the cos 3 theta of n. So we can calculate the value of theta n is equal to 90, and theta n is equal to 5 by 6 radian, or we can say 30 degree. When this type of situation is occurs, in that case we are taking the smallest value through which we can calculate the first null beam width. So here we are considering the smallest value of theta n, which is equal to 30. So we can calculate first null beam width is equal to twice of theta n is equal to 5 by 3 is equal to 60 degrees. So this is the solution of this problem. But you can also directly calculate the first null beam width by multiplying the half power beam width equal to 2. In that case, about nearly 59 degree you can get the value of first null beam width, which is uh, the approximation that we have discussed in lecture 1 during the study of half power beamwidth and first null beamwidth. These two problems is given here to test yourself, and you can see for a hypothetical isotropic antenna at a distance r is given, and total electric field E theta is 5 volt per meter. So you need to calculate the power density and radiated power, and this is the problem 4. And in this problem you can calculate the half power beamwidth and first null beamwidth in radian and degree for the normalized radiation intensity as given a to f cos theta cos square theta cos 2 theta cos square 2 theta cos 3 theta and cos square 3 theta for the varying angle theta is equal to 0 to 90 and phi is equal to 0 to 360. So by using the this analysis, we can calculate the half power beamwidth, first null beamwidth, radiated power, and power density. I hope this lecture is beneficial for you, and thank you everyone for watching this lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about some another important antenna parameter characteristics, in which the very important characteristics are the directivity, gain, and efficiency that we have discussed in the subsequent lecture. I mean lecture 3 of this antenna parameter series.